Welcome back. Today in our Sunday Spotlight, Connecticut is home to a booming oyster farming industry, and now it has an oyster shell recycling industry as well. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak with Macklin and Todd Koehnke about their business. It's called Collective Oyster Recycling and Restoration. Check it out. I love talking to people where you're doing something I had no idea even existed. So basically what we're talking about, and Tim, I'll start with you, is you go and enjoy some oysters. The shells are there. Some busser comes and busses the table and takes those shells, and then what happens?
Exactly. So basically, the restaurant will put them in our buckets here. It's a 5-gallon bucket. They'll put them out back. We come by once a week. We pick them up. We transport them to our curing site in East Haven, Connecticut, where they sit and cure for a minimum of 6 months. Basically just dries the shell out, kills anything potentially harmful that you would want to introduce back into Long Island Sound. And then they go back in the water about once a year, this time of year actually, in June. All of the shells get planted back in Long Island Sound.
And so, and let me have you talk about this, Todd, because you have a demonstration for us for why this is important. When those shells go back into Long Island Sound, this is what happens. Show us what it is here.
So all of the spat, which is a baby oyster, is swimming around for a couple of weeks, and it gets too large, it starts growing a shell, and it has to settle everywhere. If it lands on an oyster shell, this is a recycled shell we took out last year, and 13 oysters landed on it and grew off of it. So it was just a suitable substrate for those baby oysters to grow off of.
So there are baby oysters out there. They're looking for a place to sit and grow, and if you have in one of these recycled shells, that would foster that.
Exactly.
100%.
And I saw the agriculture commissioner, because there is a state grant involved here, said he wants people to think about Long Island Sound not just for boating and for swimming and for fishing, but it's farmland.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And is that an important distinction?
Yes. So yeah, what we do is restoration work. So the oysters and the shell that we plant is not for harvest, but it does benefit the commercial industry, because what happens is when those oysters that aren't harvested spawn and have babies, they'll land on the commercial lots, and then the commercial guys will be able to harvest those and keep their industry going. Connecticut's, I think, the 5th largest shellfishing producing state in the country.
And show us, I know you have this little bucket. So the big bucket is what would go, say, in the back room at a restaurant, and the people clearing the places could do it. But you have this silver one. Grab that for me, because that's, you can have the customers can participate in this process.
Exactly. It's a way to get the people involved exactly in the recycling process. So it's got some information about shell recycling on the back, a little QR code to our website so they can learn more about the whole process, but it really kind of engages the people, and most people don't know that you can recycle shells, so education is a important part of what we do. So this helps with that a lot.
And just hold it right there, because we're zooming in on it. But the people can, literally finish their oyster, toss the shell in there, and they're doing some good for our environment and for Long Island Sound.
Exactly. They start the process. It's a very simple recycling process, but they're the beginning of the process. And then we pick it up, do our part, and it goes back in the water. No treatment or anything other than just sitting out in the sun in elements for 6 months.
And we're talking big numbers. Todd, tell me about how many you've collected to date and where you're heading next.
To date, we're at about 700,000 pounds in 2 years. We have expanded. It was 125,000 the first year, 250,000 we put in this year, where we collected a little more than that, and we should be near 400,000 pounds next year. And it's just the two of us, so we can only grow so big at this point.
But we looked at a wide shot of the shells in East Haven. So it's an old quarry in East Haven. And I guess there's probably a stinkiness factor to drying out oyster shells, right?
Yep.
And so there has to be this whole process that has to occur before you can reintroduce them to the water.
Yeah, it's we say that it smells kind of like low tide. It's it's not the best smell, but it actually goes away pretty quickly. We'll drop a load of shell there on a Monday, and by Wednesday you won't really smell anything at all. Nature does its thing.
We're talking about 50 restaurants and seafood suppliers who are participating in this right now, and some of them, I noticed just in the article I read, the Oyster Club in Mystic. I mean, I just ate oysters there 3-4 weeks ago. Those shells might be sitting in East Haven right now.
They are.
Yep, they are.
So that's the kind of thing. So a lot of people might be going out. If you're ordering that, maybe say to the restaurant, hey, have you heard of these guys? You should check them out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Are you able to grow and add more restaurants and more places?
Yeah, we're in about 50 restaurants, as you said, from Greenwich to Mystic. There's probably another 25 that we could pick up over the next year, which we're looking to do.
What's the importance of this? If I'm just the average person sitting home, maybe I'm looking at this saying, ooh, I think oysters are yucky and I'm not going to eat them. Should I still be happy that you guys or people like you are out there doing this?
Absolutely. Every Connecticut resident can enjoy the sound. And the more oysters out there, the better the water quality. And one oyster can filter up to 50 gallons a day, and they really are an integral part for many species that live in there, whether you're fishing or, it's not just for boating out there. There is many, with 300 different species that can take advantage of an oyster reef.
Yeah. And these oysters were going to go somewhere, but this just helps that process along. Is that part of it? Is that when they have that shell and they have that familiar habitat, they're like, oh, this is what I'm looking for?
Well, there's millions of those oysters swimming around, but a lot of them actually die because they don't land on something hard. So if they land on the bottom and it's just sand, they'll end up dying. So this really provides, we like to say, we provide safe and loving homes for millions of baby oysters.
and that then in turn benefits all of us because we can be part of that.
Yeah, and just the reduction of waste. I mean, all of this was going into a dumpster, into a landfill. So not only is it benefiting Long Island Sound, but it's helping us reduce our waste and deal with the waste crisis that we have here in Connecticut and all around the country.
And there's probably some part of this that it's a New England story, because I mean, oysters are such a New England thing, such a Long Island Sound thing. This is such a, the industry side of it. I know that's not where you guys are, but the industry side of it is a very New England culture thing.
Hundreds of years.
Yep, we travel up and down on, we're always on the coast, these beautiful back patios, looking out at the boats as they're actually harvesting it, and we're literally picking a bucket up, and our buckets and our shell could literally be right where you're enjoying your oyster on that patio. So it's kind of surreal for us that way.
All right, so if people are watching this and maybe they're, this Sunday afternoon, they're going to head out and get some seafood somewhere, what do you want them to know? Just kind of make your pitch about why this is important to them.
Well, first of all, not only oysters, not only they taste great, but they're hugely beneficial for the environment. Like Todd said, they filter water, they create habitat for other marine species. They're great for the commercial industry in Connecticut and for the recreational fishery in Connecticut as well. So it's just a very important part of our ecosystem. So if you're eating them, just know that those shells are going back in Long Island Sound to help grow more oysters and just help the overall health of Long Island Sound.
And Todd, I know there's the QR code if people are lucky enough to have one of those buckets on their table, but if they're not, how do they find out more about your organization?
You can just go to our website, which is www.corr-ct.org, and a ton of information on there, and you can see what we're doing, currently, and just a lot of info. Just take your time. There's a lot there.
And do a lot of people have the reaction I had and say, I had no idea?
Everybody. Like the restaurants we go into are like, wow, never knew I could give you these shells, and most people are like, I did not know oysters grew on oysters.
And it's not just oysters, clam shells as well. There's other types of shells that can go in there and serve
they
the
love
same
a hard
purpose.
surface. Shells is really their favorite thing. They can grow on a rock, but really shell is really their preferred surface.
All right, so you can enjoy a delicious meal and also help out a baby oyster find somewhere to set up shop.
Absolutely.
Please.
Tim, Todd from CORR, thank you both for being with us, and hopefully people will see these buckets out there in their favorite restaurants. Maybe go on your website and check it out and learn something new and cool. That's what we try to do. Interesting things that you maybe didn't know about on a Sunday morning. Coming up next Sunday, we want to tell you about a guest that's going to be joining us. Some of you might have heard of. Jim Calhoun is his name. The former UConn basketball coach will be here along with his co-author, Dom Amore, the legendary sports writer from the Hartford Courant. He's the co-author on this, More Than a Game, How the UConn Basketball Dynasty Was Built on a Culture of Caring. The book comes out in October. But Coach Calhoun and Dom will be here talking about it next Sunday morning. We'll give you a little sneak preview. That is CT25 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning is next. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll meet you back here next Sunday morning.